So have you ever been on a website to buy something or to even to sell something, and you kind of look at the feedback of perhaps the person you're buying from or the person that has just bought from you, and you're like, ooh, it's negative. They're a negative two or something. You're like, oh, I don't know how this transaction is going to go. Well, you certainly wouldn't buy from somebody with a negative feedback. In this video, I'm going to talk about the worst user of any platform ever as far as feedback goes. It is Bricklink user 515368. Hey, I'm Jabbo. Welcome to BrickTsar. I talk about all things Lego, especially vintage Lego, and I talk a lot about Bricklink. We've done over 220 something Pablo's Pick a Bricklink Lego orders in my Bricklink store. This is, I think, since I started the BrickTsar channel, this is probably the one, two, it's at least the fourth different place I've put the store in the basement. The very first Pablo I pulled, I had drawers with baggies in it, and it was in a dark area in the middle part of the basement over here. And in those days, sometimes I would pick the order and go weigh it and then send the invoice to the buyer. I learned very quickly that you don't want to do that. You need to just send the invoice and wait till they pay before they before you pick it, because yeah, there's a lot of us got burned, not just from this buyer I'm about to talk about, but from somebody buying from you. You pick the order and then they never pay. I have instant checkout set up for that reason, so 99% of my orders, I'm exaggerating, it's probably not 99% because there's a few items. It's probably like 95%, or it's almost all of the orders basically. They get invoiced at the time of purchase, so they've paid before I ever even know about the order. And then when I get the order, it's like, okay, they've already paid. I'm going to pick it and ship it. That's the way to do it. Well, back in 2014, I got an order from somebody, but not only that, the person sent me a bill. And I forget the username that they used, because after you get kicked off of Bricklink, your username goes away, and then it's just BL. It's like user BL, and this one was BL515368. So I get, in those days, before before automated process of invoicing, you had to manually do it. I want to thank Clutch from Bricks on the Dollar, who showed us how to put a link where people could just click on the link and go there and pay for the order. But I used to manually do everybody's invoice. Go to PayPal, like put my PayPal ID in there, and tell them to go here and send the money. And then you had to hope they would put the amount in correctly. But so having that streamlined method prevents mistakes. But so what this person did, they placed large orders, a large order in my store, and then sent me a bill for it, like a PayPal invoice. So like literally I could have clicked on that and sent them money. Well, I wasn't the first person they did that. I got messages from people like Brick Stackers and AFOL Man. AFOL Man. I'm so used to saying AFOL. I think even Bricks for Chris, who is the one that gave me this number one dad shirt. He actually sent me this, and I think every time I've worn this shirt, I've talked about how Bricks for Chris sent me this shirt. He also sent one for my son, but by the time I got it, my son was way too big for the shirt. Yoda can wear it, perhaps. Yeah, I might try it out on Yoda one day. But number one dad, and I was just watching the Breaking News podcast, and they were talking about my other number one dad shirt, and it's definitely something that makes you think of the Seinfeld episode and the the debate between number one dad, greatest dad. I'm going to lift that TV over there, or something like that. But anyway, I got a squirrel moment there. We're talking about Bricklink user 515358 and how he got a negative 104 feedback rating. I was number 6. So, like I said, I got messages from other people that I knew in the community that sold. Brick Lover Brad, who was Brick Lover 18 then, he was one of them. Brick Stackers, Bricks for Chris, I'm pretty sure. I didn't go through all the feedback. AFOL Man, And we were like, what is this? I just got a bill from somebody that just bought from me. And that's what they did. They placed at least, I don't know how many orders they actually placed, but as far as feedback goes, they placed 113 orders. And just think of the time that it would have taken to do that. If you've ever placed an order, in a large order, on Bricklink, you have to go through, even if you just randomly added things, which is perhaps what they did. They might have randomly added things. Maybe they even had a program that they made, or a script of some kind where they could add to the cart. But they placed these large orders, and I don't know if anybody picked them, but everybody picked up pretty quick that he wasn't going to pay. It only took a few days. So I gave him by the time I left him his negative, and I went ahead and did it because he had 5 negatives, and I said the best way to resolve this and let everybody know this is a scam is to report him and leave him the negative feedback. So I left him a negative. I was number 6. A-Fall Man left him 1. Brickstackers, Bricklover 18. But for some reason, it took Bricklink. And again, this was before Lego owned Bricklink. This was when it was just a few people managing it. They had a system in place even then to deal with problems, but it was a little bit slower. But you didn't ever expect somebody to do something like this, to send everybody else to buy and then send the seller the invoice. And so everybody kept leaving them negative. Now, what's interesting, there were two people left them a positive. And one was like bogus buyer or something like that. And the other one was, he was a very good fake buyer or something. I'm like, what are you doing? Why did you leave him a positive? He would have had a negative 113. So how did it become like a negative 104? So is my math right? There were 5 neutrals. Yeah, there were 106. So there were 106 negatives, 5 neutrals, and 2 praises. And the 2 praises canceled out 2 of the 106. So it brought him, instead of having a negative 106, he had a negative 104. And because those other 5 people left him a neutral, why did you leave him a neutral? He would have been a negative 113 if you hadn't left him the neutral. But it was just like, when are they going to kick him off the site? Of course, he had placed all these orders at once. So it wasn't like he was placing orders here and there. He placed these pretty much all the same day or within a few days. And so, yeah, by the time Bricklink kicked him off, everybody had already left him. And it was kind of just like a race to see how many negatives. So he ended up, his official feedback is a negative 104. It should be a negative 113 because he did not have any positive transactions with anybody. But it's just like, it's a funny story because I don't think that will ever be matched on any other website of any kind. Like, you can leave feedback on Mercari, you can leave feedback on eBay, Bricklink, and you can leave ratings on sites. But how is anybody going to ever get even 10? Like, if you got a negative 10, it's like surely your account would be closed. So now, I'm saying all this is not to say you need to worry as a seller, because this affected sellers. It didn't affect buyers, because this guy, he was just trying to scam, or maybe he wasn't even really trying to scam. Maybe he was just trying to mess with everybody, because he did hit a lot of then YouTubers that talked about Lego and Bricklink. So they were, I think, a primary target, but because there was too many of us in there for it to be a coincidence. Because at that time there would have been thousands of other sellers that didn't even look at YouTube or were in this. So to have so many of us that did YouTube videos about Bricklink to be ones he bought from, I think it was intentional. It's probably somebody who also doubled as a troll in the YouTube comment section. Fortunately, we don't remember his name. So he won't even get the notoriety. Only he himself will know that he was the negative 104. And he can laugh about it to himself. Oh, I really got them. No, you didn't. You wasted your own time. It took you perhaps hours to do all that. It just took me a few seconds. Just took me a few seconds to ban you and to leave you the negative. And you couldn't leave me a negative because you couldn't do retaliatory feedback because they took care of it. So yeah, so uh, overall, I think Bricklink is a very safe website to buy from and to sell from. Yes, as with anything, there can be scams. Just use your good common sense. I pride myself in that I have been the first person to leave feedback to hundreds of people. I get orders every week from people that have a zero feedback. It's like it's their first or one of their first orders. And I always, if they've paid right away, I immediately leave them feedback. Now, that's my personal preference. I know some people wouldn't recommend doing that, like wait to leave feedback till they've received their item and they're happy with it. Um, but I've pretty much, as soon as we pick the order, my wife will pick the orders usually. I'll leave the feedback and I'll send them the notice that it's been shipped. And then I file that away and I hope to forget about the order forever until they come back again. If they have a problem, they can message me through Bricklink and we'll take care of the problem. So try to make it, try to treat people the way I want to be treated. And I think that's the way most people on Bricklink are. Even the ones that, there's a lot of people that like Bricklink as a way of making money and they make it their career. You got your Pops block shops out there. They're not as big into, they might collect a few things, but they appreciate the hobby. They appreciate the interaction with the community. So even if you're not a master builder, like I'm not a master builder, I'm a collector. It's just I think it's a good place to get there and get the Lego you want or to sell the Lego you don't want. Yeah, but you don't have to worry about too many BL515368s. Yeah, the BL515368. Yeah, they'll never be repeated. Anyway, that's the story, and I wish this shirt would never be worn again. Sorry, Chris. Thank you for sending it to me. It is my least favorite shirt. Of all the shirts I have, I feel bad for saying that because Bricks for Chris is like, I used to say, well, I can still say, Bricks for Chris, like, there was a glue in the community. He was always like doing things that was like glue, like people sticking together and super nice guy. You meet him in person. And I know he sent me this as a joke, but I don't think I'll ever wear it in public. And I just wore it in public. Maybe this video won't get 2,000 views. So, anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. You're not going to make that a short. I'm going to make this video a short. And the reason I got to thinking about this today was because watching breaking news and they were talking about some a negative feedback or something. I may be misremembering it. I know whatever it was they were talking about on breaking news is why I thought about Bricklink user 515368. See you guys.